Over the last 10 years, rollerblading has come so far that tricks that at one time seemed impossible have now become almost routine. But for every impressive trick, from the double backflip to the huge spins, like the forward 1260, there is a whole history and legacy of tricks and skaters that have come before that have paved the way for today's heroes.
And today, we're here for the fourth and final regular season stop of the ASA Pro Tour. An impressive field of skaters are here to do battle. In this show, though, we're also going to look back at some of the names and faces that have been pushing the sport so hard for so many years, getting it to where it is today, led by the Yasutoko brothers, who have become virtually unbeatable. They lead a field here at the fourth and final stop, but it's been a long evolution to get to this point in the sport. The Yasutoko's not the only brother pair here. Mark and Andre Engelhardt, who took second and fourth at the last Pro Tour stop, are here as well. It's the fourth stop from the Dulles Town Center. Just a stone's throw away from the big man's house, we are in Dulles, Virginia, outside the Dulles Town Center, and it's the final stop of the ASA Pro Tour's regular season.
I see the history of rollerblading vert has its roots in Europe, mostly, and I would say some of the strongest competitors came out of a roller skating background.
Whereas in the United States, roller skating had died, and rightfully so. In Europe, you know, like a lot of things in Europe, it persevered, it went on. And so they had a pretty healthy roller skating scene.
No historical perspective would be correct without mentioning Chris Edwards, who was the great white hope of America. In some ways, he created modern vert skating.
Chris Edwards is definitely the strongest icon and legend for inline vert. I saw him at a trade show doing 540s on inline skates, probably about 4 or 5 feet out of a half pipe, and that to me back then was just amazing.
You know, then it gets into the scenario where they're all cross-pollinating. You know, the roller skaters from Europe see what Chris is doing, Chris sees what those guys are doing, and also Australia. Australia was huge when rollerblading was first starting out.
As far as having a real impact, I think the next person for me personally was probably Tom Fry, because of the way that he skated and the way that he linked lip tricks and airs and inverts. It was a type of vert skate I'd never seen before.
Tom started to bring sort of a new, almost purely artistic approach to vert skating, where it was all about the lines and really adding contemporary lip tricks, you know, spinning into soul grinds and top souls, and he invented the fish brain. So Tom had a huge influence on vert skating.
I would have to say Manuel Billeris. Also, you know, Manuel kind of grew up under Tom's wing, but he also had some Edwards influence in the fact that he went really big and did big spins and kind of took that level of rollerblading to another level. I mean, he was doing huge 720s and 900s, and you know, the way that he linked his run together was almost like a marriage of Chris Edwards and Tom Fry, because he had the lip tricks. He was from Australia. He grew up under Tom's wing, but he also was a very powerful skater and went very, very big.
Cesar Mora and Manuel Billeris, both of those guys. And you could see the direct influence that Chris Edwards had on their skating, you know, the 720s, the big 540s. No one was doing tricks like that until Cesar and Manuel started doing them.
I have to definitely mention Cesar Mora. When I saw him skate, he also had a very different style I hadn't seen before. He had the big amplitude, but he also was doing tricks that I'd never seen before. He was doing, you know, 7-8 foot backflips. And also the spins that Cesar brought to the play was pretty intense. And he had an accuracy, and he had a way of linking those spins together that also I'd never seen before at that particular time. You know, the technical difficulty of the spins was on another level. So he definitely influenced rollerblading a lot.
And then after Manuel and Cesar came Matt Salerno, I think, who really marked the beginning of the transition from some of these early guys who were planting the seeds for all these things that we still see in modern vert skating now, But Matt Salerno became like this prototypical, completely contemporary modern vert skater, where he was taking the 720s and the 548s that Manuel and Cesar and Chris Edwards were doing, and was doing them both, spinning them both ways, spinning them maybe a couple feet higher. With Matt Salerno skating, you can look at that and say, okay, this is pretty much what the same kind of skating that the top skaters are doing now.
And those types of tricks are going to be taking place right here when we come back with the ASA Pro Tour from the Dulles Town Center and the final regular season stop of the season. The Mobile Skate Park Series is brought to you by Yoo-Hoo. Yoo-Hoo or you don't. By Nestle Butterfinger, break out of the ordinary and into a Butterfinger. And by the LG Action Sports Championship. Go to actionsportschampionships.com for all the information on the year-end championships for skateboarding, BMX, freestyle motocross, and inline skating. Selected as one of only 4 stops at the Mobile Skate Park Series regular season, it's the Dulles Town Center. Known for its great young crowds, it's a destination location for people from all over the country, and they have come out here to the Dulles Town Center, the perfect setting for the ASA Pro Tour's 4th and final regular season stop, 2003, where we're now talking.
Each vert skater that has made a difference has, subtly affected everything that we see and we do today in rollerblading. I mean, everybody out there, every icon has affected all the new breed of rollerbladers that are coming out now.
The new breed of vert skater was Tig Chris.
Tig was the ultimate skater. And when we talk about the ultimate skater, it's not one element. It's not just amplitude. It's everything. It's the trick vocabulary. It's the amplitude. It's the line. It's just the complete package. Going higher than everyone else. The tricks that are more difficult, more dangerous than everyone else. They've got the lip tricks and the airs. I mean, the balance. Just the perfect skater. And right now, it clearly is the Yasutokos.
The Yasutoko brothers are the next generation of vert rollerblading. They've taken it to the next level in a huge step, and everybody's kind of chasing them right now.
I think the Yasutokos are influenced by wire fighting, martial arts, the Matrix. They're phenomenal and to some extent inexplicable.
1080 California roll and Takeshi with his lip tricks. I mean, you got to wonder, have we arrived at the ultimate skater? But every time there's an ultimate skater, every time there's a Matt Salerno or a Tig Chris, you always got to leave room for the possibility that someone like Eito or Takeshi could come along.
Shane Youst, the way that he skates in practice, the way that you see him outside of the competition circuit, he's at the top level. He's got some of the most technically difficult tricks. He's got one of the best styles out there. Spins, he's on another level. He's constantly coming up with new spins and new variations that nobody is even trying. I think Mark Engelhardt has the ingredients to be, that guy, the #1 guy out there. He proved that at Gravity Games last year when he pulled a perfect run and it came together. And what excites me about Mark is that America traditionally in recent years hasn't been known to produce, world-class vert skating. And I'm hoping that with Mark being out there, being a good influence and competing on the level that he does, he's going to inspire a whole new generation.
So we go through the history of rollerblading, and now we arrive at the present time, and we arrive at the Yasutokos. I think the way to think of it, in terms of the future of vert skating, is how much more perfect are these guys going to get? Whatever you can dream up, they'll work on it, and they'll get it. Takeshi's learning double flat spins there. Eito's working on a triple backflip. Takeshi's working on a 1440. If you would have ever talked about any of these things in the history of skating, they all would have been pipe dreams. But when you talk about it in terms of the Yasutokos, it's just a question of when are we going to see it? Because it's coming. And that's exciting.
The Yasutoko brothers have only each other right now to push themselves. We're going to see them skate in just a moment.
He's a young one, so I cannot respect him because he's like baby brain.
We'll see if the young Takeshi or Mark Engelhardt can beat Eito Yasutoko when we come back.
Skateboarding. The way that he can put it into a line where he comes right out of another spin into that 1080, goes right into another trick out of it. There's the forward 900.
Yep. And you notice he's done the 540 both directions as well. So he really does have a lot of different skills up here.
One thing I've noticed about this run so far is that he's only stayed in about 2 panels of the ramp, not utilizing the ramp very well. Although his lines are good in terms of linking those tricks back to back, he's not using the entire ramp as well as he could be.
Slipping off the coping on the topside soul grind, though. Mark's biggest enemy really is his own lack of confidence. He says he doesn't feel like he belongs up here on the ramp with the Yasutoko brothers and with Shane Yost, but in fact he really does.
Well, he's certainly one of the best in the world, but you know that's also correlated to how much he's able to practice. He doesn't skate a lot when he's back home, and so unless he's out doing shows and demos, he's not staying in practice as well as the Yasutokos or some of the other top pros. There's that forward 900, which has become sort of a nemesis of late for Mark, but a solid run.
A lot. How did the run feel?
I forgot to mention
Dizzifying.
has been added in.
What else is dizzifying? The relationship between the two brothers.
They don't really fight. Like, I mean, it's not like a full out fight, like where they're throwing punches or anything like that. But they bicker about things like what are better video games, or who's a better like hockey player for the Flyers or stuff like that.
Well, growing up, we didn't get along too well, so at the skate park and everything, we didn't really push each other that much, We kind of just stayed away from each other a little bit. But now we're getting along so much better now. We're great friends now.
I think all brothers are like that when you're young, but we both have grown up, and now he's one of my best friends. I love him to death, and I'd do anything for him.
Andre is, I think, a little bit more outgoing than Mark. Mark tends to be a little bit more shy, even though they're both pretty shy. But you can tell that there's more of a friendliness about Andre. Like, he's more willing to talk to other people that he doesn't know and things like that. And Mark would just kind of stay back until someone actually talked to him instead.
This is the first time I've actually been training a lot. Like, I've been exercising, I go out running, I've changed my diet, I'm eating right, I'm trying to be healthier, and I've noticed a big difference in Cincinnati. I had a lot more stamina, but my leg strength isn't back to where it was, so I'm still getting tired near the end of my runs. But I've been working on my consistency, a lot of tricks. I've got a few things up my sleeve, but whether or not we'll see them anytime soon is questionable. Hopefully.
He was incredible. I mean, he always used to beat me, and then he just kind of stopped skating, so that's the only reason I'm beating him now. I think with some time and practice, he can be right up there, and he's going to be, so I can't wait for it.
Andre Engelhardt had a great event in Buffalo, New York. The last ASA Pro Tour stop ended out in 4th place. Feeling the nerves, but also getting more and more in shape all season long.
And you really can see it in his skating. He's getting more confident. His airs are getting higher. And as he mentioned, his stamina's getting better. An advantage that Andre will have over the rest of the field once he starts getting competitive with the airs and the spins and everything is on the lip. He's got very sophisticated lip tricks.
And that good enough right now to bump him up 2nd place just behind his brother. Takeshi Yasutoko has been bringing such big amplitude over the last couple of years. Literally no one else has been able to touch the height until very recently when his brother Eito started hitting the same stratosphere.
Yeah, Eito's really brought up his airs, but still, no one sustains it for longer than Takeshi, and no one does it more gracefully than he does. Looks so comfortable up there around that 12-foot range.
And it's hard to say that Takeshi doesn't have big finishing tricks, because he does have a couple big ones, but where he has an advantage over his brother, if there is such a thing, it would be on the lip as well. It would also be up in the air.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. Here we go. Look at this. That combo is so difficult, so technical. Again, coming with the alley-oop acid. I mean, his brother just completely stays away from these moves, will not even attempt these difficult grind moves. He'll throw in a couple token grind moves just to keep his run balanced, but he is not competitive at all with Takeshi in terms of those grinds.
It's amazing to see two brothers who skate together all the time, and they skate so differently. Big 1080 upside down to finish things off.
And that was a great run for Takeshi. He had the huge airs. You know he's going to do that. He finished with the 1080. Nice finishing move, but it's hard to compete with all of Eito's moves. Look at this high air. This is that amplitude we're talking about, well above the deck. All the riders looking up. And he finished with the 1080, but it's hard to compare that heads up to Eito's California roll 1080, Eito's double backflip 180. But what Takeshi did was he stuck his lip tricks, and that's what's going to give him the advantage.
So here at the end of round number 1, young Takeshi Yasutoko sits on top, his brother narrowly sitting behind him. Mark Engelhardt right now in 3rd. Eito Yasutoko is going to take to the air when we come back. from a lot of skaters, but also some other people you wouldn't expect.
I like Jack Chan. He's crazy. He's always pushing up himself, and he has a lot of good movies.
So Eito saw Takeshi post a very high score in the first round. Now he's playing some catch-up, coming out with huge airs, going Liu-Kang right in to the California roll 1080. Perfect landing.
Now, he landed that trick in the first run as well, but he didn't have the same kind of height on it.
It's so important to land those tricks high on the ramp so you can go right into another trick. Double backflip 180. And that means he's going to come back if he keeps the same line, and he's going to throw the double backflip. Well, let's talk about that lip trick he just did. He went topside corn across the coping, which is a good trick, but compared to the lip tricks we were seeing from Takeshi, doesn't quite measure up. But where Eito more than makes up ground is in these big tricks. Remember, that's the second double backflip variation we've seen in this one run.
Yeah, he looks very, very pleased with that run. You know, and Arlo, it's also good to see your new roommate speaking a little more English.
Yeah, I like to think we had something to do with that. Here's the California roll 1080. So impressive. One of the most impressive tricks in rollerblading. Add to that the double backflip 180. And it just gets to be too much. Also, the double backflip straight up. And when you compare those big tricks heads up against Takeshi's lip tricks, I think you got to give those big dangerous tricks the edge.
A great second run, 94.50. Right now, he sits on top. Looking back at some of the other runs out here, Jaron Grobe's always considered himself more of a street and park rider.
Yeah, we call this section just a bunch of other guys that couldn't beat Eito. Here comes Carl Hills. It's the same story every contest, though. So no one should feel too bad about it. Carl, of course, has been spending a lot of time on street lately. He's become very good, but still no slouch on Vert with the rocket fish brain.
Fred Volpe, someone you don't see out here very often. A couple international riders making their way out.
Always good to see new faces, even if the faces are a little bandaged.
And Sam Fogarty, always doing double duty and usually on no sleep.
Yeah, he works hard at night.
And he's working hard here. Nice little backside unity grind. Marco De Santi's got every big trick in the book. Unfortunately, when you throw tricks like this double flat spin, you earn the Yoo-Hoo's best rec.
Yeah, that double flat spin is a marquee move. A lot of guys would love to have that trick. Marco, one of just a couple of guys in the world that has it. But it wasn't working for him here today.
If he can land that trick and put it all together with all the other big tricks he's got, he could win the big events. Unfortunately, he fell in both runs. Did show that he can land them, though. So there's a look, again, like you said, of all the other guys who weren't able to beat Eito. Mark and Andre included in that list. So now we're down to our final skater. And this guy we know does have what it takes.
Yeah, he did it in the first round, but now Eito's put the pressure back on Takeshi. So we're seeing the lead change back and forth in this sibling rivalry. Huge airs from Takeshi, another great start here in the second round. And remember, the key is the lip trick for him. A triple combo on that one. That's exactly what he needs to do.
Well, if you ask Takeshi who his influences are, one of them, Tom Fry, who obviously made lip tricks one of the biggest parts of his skating. Whoa, but there, surprisingly,
That tastes great. Yeah, I try more difficult grind.
yeah, he does try more difficult grinds, but today he will pay the price for not staying on the coping. Eito Yasutoko wins another Pro Tour event. He is undefeated in regular season events, the X Games and the Gravity Games. And no surprise that he's also going to take home the LG pick trick. Full backflip 180, so difficult. That's the trick that's qualified him. To vote for your favorite LG pick trick, log on to lgactionsports.com. And the overall winner is going to be determined at the LG Action Sports Championships, the season-ending championships of action sports taking place November 15th to the 23rd in Los Angeles.
Accommodations provided by Dulles Town Center Courtyard by Marriott, conveniently located 5 miles from the Washington Dulles Airport and just 30 minutes from beautiful Washington, D.C.
Special thanks to 99.1 WHFS Radio. Also special thanks to the Lerner Corporation and the Dulles Town Center. You can bet you're going to catch the Yasutoko brothers, the Engleharts, and all of your favorite skaters, BMXers, skateboarders, and freestyle Moto X riders at the LG Action Sports Championships.
I want to try to change to be great.
Go to actionsportschampionships.com